Okay guys, welcome back. Let's talk for a second about what your TC is not doing that they should be doing to help you grow your business. But before we do that, since we're talking about leveraging, I just wanna... Okay. Now that I got that done, I'm gonna put the lipstick away. Had to get some of that out of the way. Let's talk about this TC thing. So basically, there are so many different kinds of TCs, which stands for transaction coordinator. There's so many different kinds of transaction coordinators out there. There's basic ones, there's ones that are run by maybe your transaction software. So if you have Dotloop, if you have SkySlope, if you have DigiSign, any of those programs, a lot of them have their own like digital transaction coordinator, which is fine. And basically all that person is or does is they just do the paperwork for you in the back end. A lot of transaction coordinators, all they do is just the paperwork. So they turn it in for you and they say, check, check, check. I've got that all done. Your file is now complete. Great. So that's fantastic. And I think that that is worth something. I mean, just uploading all of the documents, getting them into your brokerage to get paid, that can be time consuming and take a long time. But I think that the most important thing that a transaction coordinator can do for you is raise the standard of experience for your clients. I'm going to repeat that. Raise the standard of experience for your client. Meaning, what the transaction coordinator's job is to not only take some things off your plate, which is a portion of the job, but to also make your client's experience so good that they could never imagine working with anybody else because it was so good, it was so organized, they had everything that they needed from the beginning. That's a transaction coordinator's job. It's about the client's experience. It is not about, do you need one? Do you not have the time to turn in your own paperwork? A lot of agents really get that confused and they say, well, I only do a couple of deals a year. I don't need a transaction coordinator because I have the time to do it myself. But do you? Do you really have the time to do it yourself? Because I can guarantee you that a transaction coordinator is going to do things precisely, on time, consistently, more often, and things that you haven't done before that you're not doing. Let's talk about a couple of the things that transaction coordinators can do for you that you may not be doing. Calendar management. That's like the first and most important thing. My team of transaction coordinators, what they do is they make sure that it's in my calendar, date of contract, date of inspection, date that the contingency release from the inspection is due, date that the appraisal is due, date that the earnest money is due, date of closing. All of these different dates for every contract that I have is automatically put in my calendar, and my transaction coordinator does that for me. Does your transaction coordinator do that for you? The next thing that your transaction coordinator should be doing, but may not be doing or isn't doing correctly, and that's a big part in this too, is asking your client to leave you a review. Now, when I say doing this correctly, I'm serious. There is a right way and a wrong way to ask a client for a review. Asking them after you close the deal, wrong, not the right way to get a review. Asking them to leave a review on multiple different platforms, say Facebook, Zillow, Google, Realtor.com, Trulia. If you ask your client to leave you a review on every one of those platforms, it's not going to happen. That's wrong. So, is your transaction coordinator asking your client for reviews at the right time, giving you the highest probability for a good review? Probably not. All right, so let's talk about reminders to you. Does your transaction coordinator remind you when you are slacking in your own game? For example, in my area, when I write a contract, I usually write it contingent on inspections. So after the inspections are over, that's the right time to write up a contingency release, or an ROC, or ROC, as many people call it. And this is basically releasing the seller and the buyer of any type of inspection contingency and moving forward with the contract. Sometimes the ROC includes repairs. Sometimes the contingency release does not include repairs. It's a monetary amount back, whatever it is. But is your transaction coordinator giving you a reminder that this ROC, or contingency release addendum, is due? If it's gone 3 days past the inspection and you still haven't written up your contingency release or any addendum that's due by a certain time, is your transaction coordinator reminding you that this is due? Probably not. That's not part of their job, but my transaction coordinators do that. Last but not least, and this is my absolute favorite, at the beginning of this video, we talked about making the client experience amazing. And I think that's incredibly important. You want to make sure that the client's experience from contract to close is so good. I call it the Disneyland experience. Giving your clients the Disneyland experience, is it that good so they want to keep coming back for more? So this is one of those things that really just sets us apart, or sets your TC apart from other TCs, and that's what I call a textable timeline. A textable timeline is something that I created on Canva. It's a timeline of events that keeps your clients ahead of the game and knowing what's going on at all points throughout the process. So contract date, deadlines for other things that need to be done, maybe it's insurance or turning in earnest money, or contacting title company to fill out those documents. All of those things, that's all done on this timeline of events. And then there's also contact information for the lender, contact information for the title company, all sorts of different contact information. Also how much they're paying for the property when they close and when they get their keys, because sometimes when they close and when they get their keys are two different times. That's all information that we put on our timeline of events, and my transaction coordinator makes it so that it's a textable timeline of events. It fits the screen perfectly of a phone. She sends it to me, and then I already have that ready to go, and I can just text it to my client right away. Now, some transaction coordinators, I can see you as an agent wanting your TC to actually send that off to the client in a PDF. I like to text it to my clients, but I don't have 30 minutes to create it each time. So my transaction coordinator creates it when she's done turning in the deal day one, sends it to me so I can send it to my clients. So that's just a few things that my transaction coordinator is doing that I feel like every transaction coordinator should be doing, but is yours doing it? I'd like you to ask yourself that question, and if you have any questions for me or want to learn more about what our TC can do for you, what our transaction coordinator services are, make sure you reach out to me. Information is in the comment section below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys all next time.